Welcome back to Sin and Punishment Star Successor, where things have gone a little wrong.
I'm lucky to be alive. Uh-oh, where's Kachi? Kachi? Kachi!
Well, shit.
Kachi, you okay?
Of course. Good as new.
Okay then, where are we? Some kind of underground city.
Hope I'm not interrupting. Hand over the girl. Act swiftly, and I may just spare your life. Foolish boy. You truly intend to challenge us? Hand her over or die. Your choice.
Fine, take her.
Good boy. You've made a wise choice. Peel away that mask and reveal your true nature, monster.
Take this!
Yes. Flee. Running is nothing but an exercise in futility.
I love the delivery of that last line. It turns an innocuous, cheesy line into the stone-cold burn of the century.
What do we do now?
Now we run like our lives depend on it. Because they do.
Alright, now that we've got all that plot out of the way, let's begin. There are 2 achievements to be had in the opening run of Stage 2, and basically nothing to actually harm us. First is gained by using the melee attack to destroy every guard tower on the way to the end of this highway. You want to be in midair to hit them, because for some reason if you're running along the ground, the game sees that you really aren't that close after all, and maybe your melee attack shouldn't hit them. So it's better to be in the air for this part. The second achievement is gotten by destroying at least 2 of these blue airships by the end of the highway. They're interesting because they're a necessary part of the stage design, because they have to throw missiles at you for you to deflect back. So the game deals with you destroying them by just spawning more behind buildings. And with that, we've gotten both of them. Moving on, we get to some enemies that can actually do a little damage. These basic soldiers, the guys in black, can only fire single shots. The ones in kind of khaki or beige have machine guns that can do a lot more damage, or rocket launchers, and sometimes flamethrowers. The ones that get close to you tend to have flamethrowers. You also want to keep out for any differently colored objects in the background. Most objects can be destroyed, but different colored ones, like the orange barrel that blew up a while back, tend to be explosive and can take out many enemies at once. We also see here that the enemies have access to the same dodge maneuver that we do. They are not as proficient at using it though, and I've never seen them just spam the move over and over and over again, but it would be kind of brutal if they did. It's nice that they just put those random rocket launcher guys around, because you can easily cause a lot of mayhem. Alright, first boss, the N5 Iron Bat. Not impressive enough for Commander Shepard's use, so he's missing those last couple ends. This guy is very easy, has very few attacks of its own, and relies mainly on the soldiers that spawn to do damage to you. It can throw out some bombs, though. And if you looked really closely when I finished it off, you might have noticed a slight error in the game's arithmetic. I'll be sure to show it off in the thread. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't actually catch that missile, but it looks like the hitbox was very generous for it, and I was able to do a very cool behind-the-back, off-screen catch and release. I thought it was pretty cool. Not so much for that other missile, though. Oh yeah, you might have noticed all the little guys flying around in the background that I keep blowing up. they actually cannot harm you at all. The little eyeball guys, they are strictly there for you to increase your multiplier, which normally increases at a rate of 0.1 per kill, but slows down as you get to double digits, and slows down even further as you approach times 16, which is the highest it can go. As you take damage, your health decreases. It's down there at the bottom. Wasn't really an issue last stage. And your multiplier will decrease by a similar amount to your health. Alright, second boss of the stage is the Phoenix Keeper. He's also pretty easy, but he can certainly throw out some bullets. Most of these bullets can be shot. There are 2 different colors of them. But all in all, it's a pretty easy attack to dodge. Now that achievement was gotten by knocking him off balance with a charge shot, and then knocking a crab back into him to knock him off the bridge. That also does a lot of damage. There are, in fact, a lot of achievements that you get by doing things to bosses that do a lot of damage to them as well, so they're worth getting. And now, it's time for my favorite part of the level, where you just flip upside down and fly around the city for no reason other than it being cool. The controls are exactly the same, but damn does the city look good upside down. It also makes for some interesting enemy patterns, especially as you go sideways here. It creates kind of a corridor of bullets for you to navigate. The thing to watch out for, though, is that the enemies on that highway we just passed actually can't hurt you as far as I can tell. They're just there to distract you. And that is one of the big things that this game does, to try to trick you into dodging into a shot that you don't need to. It often fills the screen with bullets and enemies, but not all of the enemies can actually harm you. And learning to tell the difference is a big key to succeeding in this game. There are another 2 achievements coming up. Each one can be gotten by deflecting all of the missiles from a specific launcher into enemies, which I almost had there, but I missed with the last one. And unfortunately the second one isn't going to go quite so well. One of the tough things with these missiles is that it's easy to be at the part of the screen that they're going to come into, and that's an easy way to take 10 damage and get stunned and let more enemies onto the screen to fill it with bullets. In this next section, you want to destroy as many of these crane arms as possible by shooting the yellow fuse boxes. Failure to do so will land you squarely in the poor life choices zone, which is regularly occupied by large sweeping lasers that do a lot of damage, and take up half of the screen at a time. Or sometimes 90 to 95% of the screen, depending on how bad you are at actually getting rid of the cranes. Of course, sometimes you wind up with a free trip to the poor life choices zone through no fault of your own, because a charge shot might get blocked by one of these random enemies circling around the tower. Destroying them all, however, is worth 200,000 points, so in addition to the level just being much easier if you do it, it's worth it for the score as well. Now this guy is basically the same Iron Bat boss that we fought before, except now he's not even considered a boss. Although this time he has support from some machine gun robots at the bottom, and also if you take too long, those last 2 cranes will strafe the screen with large lasers, and as the lasers dissipate, they'll even turn into bullets that then cross the screen horizontally, whereas they strike vertically. Ready for another boss? Hope so, because here's another one right now. This boomerang-wielding guy on top of the tank is the squad leader. He is apparently completely invincible to shots, which is a pain, but he comes down here to be hit by melee attacks as well. Now, I kind of screw up here. I'm under the impression, for some reason, that you get an achievement for destroying 450 enemies, which isn't correct. Looking at other videos and previous runs tells me that it's actually at 500, and you can see there that the jump move can actually be pretty useful. Issa's boots seem to be protected from damage most of the time, so the jump is actually kind of handy for avoiding things. The dodge is still better though, for all intents and purposes. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to do here is get him to summon some more guys, like 4 more, because there aren't 4 more enemies in this entire stage, it's just more boss fights, but he wasn't going for it.
This way! Let's take a breather in here!
Leaving so soon? There's no escape from the nebulas.
This jolly fellow, who we met in the intro to the stage, is Orion Sang, first of the Nebulox. The Nebulox are basically your group of, general anime assassin people, and they tend to be pretty tough. This guy is completely immune to all attacks a vast majority of the time. There's only one attack he does that he's vulnerable during, and it involves batting back those little shield generators that he has circling around him. First attack, very easy to avoid, you just circle the screen. Second is a bit harder to avoid. You want to find the area where the spheres are not converging and hide there, as you can be damaged both by the spheres and their explosions. When Sang approaches you at the front of the screen, you definitely need to swipe at him, because otherwise he'll do a giant Dragon Ball Z laser in your face and it'll hurt. And that last attack is just a pain to avoid. Even if you know where it's coming from, and it can come from either... basically he can appear at the top, bottom, left, right of the screen, and he will fill all of the screen except for a small portion of it with those energy spheres that soon explode. You want to get up next to him and up and to the right of him to avoid it. Like so. Notice in this case that Issa was safe with his boots. The actual damaging, since I missed it the first time around, is done when he fires his shield generators at you as missiles. You can do 100 damage each time by deflecting the back, and you can deflect 2 per round. But if you're clever about it, and can dodge the shield projectors, you can get in a charge shot as well to reduce the amount of time it takes to beat him. Well, we sure have seen a whole lot of stuff that doesn't make a whole lot of sense and is not adequately explained today. But before we're finished with the stage, there is one more boss to go. Last up is the Snapper Keeper, whose boss fight is very reminiscent of the fight against a certain purple dragon towards the start of Metroid Prime 3. His first attack is these spirals of bullets that create a convenient safe zone right in the middle of them. That's a recurring theme throughout the game, is floating through rings of death. And if you hit him in the face, when he gets up close there, you can get a full heal out of it. Of course, if you hit him in the face while you're already at full health, you get a medal instead. Another medal can be gained by batting missiles back into all 4 of its legs, which is actually extremely difficult without locking on to more than one of them. They unstun after a very short amount of time, so you can effectively only lock onto one, and you'll have to wing it for the rest to get all 4 of them stunned before the first one becomes unstunned. Doing so knocks him down to the bottom of the shaft and deals 500 damage, a quarter of his health, so definitely do it. And you might also notice that in this entire... all these rocks are destructible, so it's an easy attack to avoid, but there are also some bombs that appear as well, and slashing at those lets you bat them back into the Snapper Keeper, so before that attack pattern you want to lock onto his head so that they'll home in. The fire breathing is a little difficult to avoid. Once the attack actually starts, as long as you aren't hit with it just as it's coming onto the screen, constant dodging is generally the way to get around it, but it's hard to tell where that second stream will appear, so it's easy to get hit. It's also easy to get hit here when he jukes you out, like that. He tries to finish up that attack pattern by eating you, which does a lot of damage and stops you from beating him up. But if you slash as his face comes at you, you can smack him back and stun him, and that's worth 200,000 points. And that's it for the Snapper Keeper's attack patterns. So we're just going to go ahead and repeat from the first one, going backwards, and he'll soon be defeated. And that does it for Stage 2, Freeze Frame. That's a personal best for me by about 100,000 points.
Check it out. The data system here is still up and running. I'm gonna search for the quickest route off this planet.
Issa, that monster back there, why did it attack us?
Monster? Oh, that wasn't a monster, Kachi. It was a keeper. Long ago, the civilization of this Earth became so advanced that it brought about its own destruction. Keepers are artificial life forms, created to protect what's left. Think about it this way. Keepers act as Earth's immune system. And in their eyes, we're uninvited parasites. All right, I think I found our ticket out of here. Let's go.
Next up, Sequest, DSV. Sort of.